All right, let's check this out. Star Citizen 4.3.2 has some insane updates. Sorry, Dave, I think it's SaltEMike.
What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for October 6th, 2025. The Halloween event has started, and surprise, surprise, the awards are very familiar. The monthly report has me thinking we might see something very big, possibly even this year, and 4.3.2 is on the PTU, and there's some really, really exciting changes. All that and more on today's Week in Review.
Week in Review! Week in Review! Yeah!
And as always, if this is your first Week in Review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. Stop by.
Oh, yeah.
Last day on this video, but you can also go above and beyond and hit the join button or leave.
Okay.
Starting out on Tuesday, they did maintenance for the website side, it seemed, on most accounts. Basically, I was able to play the whole time. They didn't take the actual servers down. Maybe they're prepping for a lot of visitors and sales during the CitizenCon event. Thursday, we got a launcher update. This was originally posted on the 25th, though, and I don't think I talked about it on last week's episode. So yeah, there was an update that calculates room on your drive now when downloading, things like that. If I'm missing something here, let me know what's going on, because they updated it again for some reason this week. Again on Thursday, Day of the Vara started. The Halloween event is here. That's what Day of the Vara is, and it mostly includes outside the game stuff. Community, team events, cooking things, and pictures, and that kind of stuff.
You know, like human things, like community things, Mike.
But this year's in-game event is not in the PU. It's in Arena Commander. They did this last year, but they also, I think, had a PU thing alongside it. But I think it was just for a coin in Arena Commander. This year, you must place in the top 3, and you get a set of the bear masks for your first podium.
No. They could bring out something new, right? I mean, they bring us some new Halloween shit. Am I right? Put a 1 down. Like, why would you just go with the same shit that you already have? Like, let's freshen it up a little bit, for God's sake. If you're going to take the time to make this an event, then at least make a new fucking helmet. At least one. Yeah, make a pumpkin head. Right, Fingers. Do something, for God's sake. You're just going to give us the same bear and vandal mask we've had for years now? How dare you? Hold on. Pepe, you know what we need to do, dude. It's been a while, dude. It feels so good to push this again. Oh, yeah, Pepe. That's a shameful thing, man.
Shame.
Dudes.
Shame.
At least a new helmet. Like one new helmet.
Another set for your second, and a third podium will get you a set of the Halloween masks from the original Halloween event, including the Vandal mask. If you need any help, I literally made a coin collector guide. That's what this is built off of on the channel. That will give you a little advice on how to place in these. They also have some paints that just don't do it for me. Very little color, not my style at all. But if they're for you, enjoy them. Then again on Thursday, more stuff on Thursday. 4.3.2 went to Evo Cotty. A lot of valuable stuff.
And none of them look like Halloween anything. Like maybe that one a little bit, but like give us a Halloween paint. Hold on a second. Hold on. What are you doing to me here? You're going to take the time to make these stupid skins? You're not going to put some like Halloween oriented shit on there? I mean, who's the marketing guy over there, for God's sake? Yeah, those are Joker colors, for God's sake. Maddie's right. How about we do some like oranges, like make some crazy wicked looking jack-o'-lantern, like Daft Punk shit on one, and you know what I'm saying? Like some neon glow paint of a jack-o'-lantern on a wing. You know what I'm saying? Like, give us something spicy, for goodness sakes. Spicy.
Shame.
On Thursday,
shame.
4.3.2 went to Evo Cotty. A lot of valuable stuff, but most of it is not in the notes. Structural salvage was, but it's an update that is not what people think it is. I had so many people asking me if salvage is back now, and you know, is there going to be piracy for it and things like that. But this change does anything but that for now. We don't currently know what this economic update entails that's not in the current patch. So maybe it'll help it. But they buffed the distance in which you can fracture or disintegrate ships in the Reclaimer, and
okay, all right, but like more people want that RMC because it's more money, and they don't want to waste any room for the constructed materials.
A bit in the Vulture and Fortune. The process will speed up if you're in the sweet spot for either. You can tell if you're in the sweet spot as the circle in the center kind of fills in. Outside of this is 100% a nerf to how broken construction materials was to create. You can make over 1,000 SCU of construction materials really fast in a Reclaimer on live. The value of CM is currently unchanged in the PTU, so it's about 2,200 Alpha UEC. That's the value of barrel, right? So what are the steps to mine a few hundred SCU of barrel? They're a lot more.
Dude, we all know that their rewards are just nerfed all around the board. We want higher rewards on everything there is to do in this game. Like, my God. You're not gonna hate me. How many times do I have to say the same things over to Cloud Imperium again? They need to just lift up the rewards on almost everything that is in this game. It is stupid that they don't. It is stupid that they don't. I don't understand it.
And a lot more time involved to make that item, including refining, right? So CIG added an extra step. Also ignore the naming conventions they have in the notes here because they're wrong, or the patch is wrong. I have no idea. But structural salvage creates a raw material you need to refine into construction materials now. The way they do this is not great. I hate this idea for the moment, but it's placeholder, so whatever. The Reclaimer makes construction material salvage no matter what you are fracturing and disintegrating, which converts like 20% of it. So you have 100 SCU of raw, you will only refine that into a...
First off, what the fuck are they focusing on construction material for? Now, I've flown in a Reclaimer one time, and I kamikazed it into Daymar with my friend Noriko. I have been in a Reclaimer, okay, but only one time. I'm not quite sure because I don't know the mechanics of the Reclaimer if there's a separate area for just construction materials, right? Or does it lump it all together like the Vulture does? So first off, what I would like to know is if the Reclaimer actually, the SCU that you're sucking the RMC off of is the same SCU container that is for construction materials for fractured components. So no, if they all go into the same hopper because Hugh has a Reclaimer, then to me this whole construction material thing does not make any sense because everybody knows that the RMC, the recycled material composite, offers more money than the construction materials. You get what I'm saying? So as somebody that's flown a Vulture a lot and somebody who has salvaged a lot, I am not worried about construction materials at all. What I am concerned about is the RMC. So what I do is I go around to every ship and just scrape every ship for the RMC. Right. It's not worth the structure materials. Thank you, Hugh. So now this is something that's very interesting because Mike is not talking about this right now. So that makes me feel like Mike might not really be too in depth with this game loop, but Hugh and I are. Now I am accustomed to this game loop in a Vulture, whereas Hugh is accustomed to this game loop in the Reclaimer, which is great because you got both of us here right now. And both of us will tell you that we never break the ship down because it is not worth the SCU cargo to be putting in the construction materials when you could fill it all up with the recycled material composite. The RMC pays more than the construction materials. The RMC is what the salvagers are looking for.
About 20 SCU of construction materials. The Vulture makes construction material.
RMC all day, every day. That's what we say as salvagers. That's all we do. So what Mike is not really realizing, because maybe he doesn't play the game, or maybe I'm cutting him off and maybe he'll talk about this too, is that who gives a shit about these construction materials unless this whole process makes it worth it. Like if you have to take the construction materials and then refine them and then you get paid like 3 times what you get on RMC, then okay.
Rubble, which converts around 80%. I can refine or salvage the same ship in a Vulture or a Reclaimer and I will get 60% more material. It's very weird. So
okay, so it sounds like he knows something of that. I would just say this. When we see changes like these, a lot of us that play the game go, what are you doing? Like, what is even going on? You're putting this in, and you know the problem is this: they're putting in these values that make no sense. They're putting, like, I feel like the economic team is different from the QA team. Like the QA team's playing and they're saying, okay, here's the extra things that you should add. And then that gets shipped over to the economic department. And then the economic team puts in like values of what they think that it should be without discussing with the QA department what they need, what should be done, or with Evocati members or with people that are actually playing this game. There needs to be more feedback between the people who are playing, whether they're QA or John Q Public. There needs to be more interaction with the economic team and the people that are playing. Are you listening to me, Cloud Imperium? And you know who I'm talking to. You know exactly who I'm talking to. Are these teams talking to one another? Make the teams talk to one another so that we actually have values that matter.
None of this sounds really appealing to anyone right now, but as it says here in the notes, this is really just a setup
He's rolling his eyes right now. I feel
proper crafting materials, right? So these ships likely won't create their own materials. The materials you get will be based on what you're actually salvaging and what those things are created from. Okay, Future Mike here, finding more out about structural salvage from Torsten on the Answer the Call podcast today. So go get subscribed over there. Check out that video if you guys haven't yet. It's called 4.3.2 PTU Talk. But at some point, we were a little bit confused about why the Reclaimer would make one material and the Vulture would make another. And Croncy kind of said, I think what they're trying to do is, like, let's use copper as an example. The Vulture will create copper chunks while the Reclaimer will create copper powder. And then chunks will maybe be better.
This is all types of fucking weird. What the fuck kind of conversation is this right now? And the copper analogy is just a terrible analogy. Like, what in the actual fuck is this talk that's happening? This is back asswards. None of this makes sense. If you have a tool that does something, you could put it in a Vulture or you could put it in a Reclaimer. Maybe you change the size of it, but like the process itself wouldn't change unless the actual tool needed could only fit in the Reclaimer and not in the Vulture. That's the only way that would ever make any sense. But the physical process is not going to change just based on the type of ship that it is. Makes absolutely no sense. This is retarded. This is an absolutely 110% retarded kind of conversation happening here.
Or, you know, have less material in it, or there'll be more, you know, material other than copper, so it'll be less efficient, and the powder will be more efficient because it's more pure. It's just the powder of copper, something like that with the Reclaimer. And Torsten immediately, while in the chat listening to us, said, yes, that's what we're going for. So instead of it being...
Well, they're just making shit more complicated. It doesn't need to be more complicated. This is
construction material chunks or construction material rubble or whatever we're seeing in the chat. I think I was hooked or in the notes. I think I was a little held up on construction material as a term, but when you use it with the other ones, that's what it's going to be. So that is,
you can always tell an idea is really bad when somebody has to talk it up like this or make it sound like it's better than it is, which is back asswards. When you start hearing people talk this way about a game change or something, and it makes absolutely no sense and so convoluted that somebody's got to try and explain it to make it better, and the explanation falls short. Right? It's like you got 15 seconds in the game left, and the quarterback, you're 70 yards away from the touchdown with 15 seconds left, and you're going for the Hail Mary on the 4th down. Right? You're either going to catch the ball and you're going to score, or you're just not. And probability is 99% of the time that receiver is not catching that ball. You know, like, this is the conversation that I'm watching right now. It is so messed up. It makes absolutely no sense that this is even happening. And again, it makes me feel like, dude, is there people that are playing the game that are salvaging? Because obviously we all know that RMC pays more than construction material. Nobody even cares about construction material. The only time they're going to care about construction material is when it pays more than RMC. And you've got only a limited amount of SCU, whether you're a reclaimer or whether you're in a vulture. You've got a limited amount of SCU. In the vulture, I think it's 13 SCU, if I remember correctly. It's been about a week since I hopped in one, but I want to say it's 13. You got 13 SCU. You want as much profit in that SCU as you can get. So you're collecting RMC. You're not collecting construction material. Nobody's collecting construction material. There's not one salvager out there worth this grain of salt that's doing anything with construction material. Unless the construction material pays more through this new process. And then if it does, maybe that'll be the soup du jour. And then everybody's going to go after that. But like this kind of explanation where only the reclaimer's getting certain benefit. I mean, okay, the reclaimer's a bigger ship. You obviously are going to be able to pull more in as a reclaimer. It's got more of a hold. You're going to be able to strip it faster. It's going to cost more. It's a reclaimer. Obviously, that's the benefits of it. But when you're like making something slightly like a material that's going to be exclusively for the reclaimer, but you can't do that in the vulture, for some weird cockamamie reason that makes no sense that I'm listening to, that all that should happen is that the vulture and the reclaimer should be able to do the same thing, but the vulture should be in a smaller quantity and a smaller sizing, smaller SCU than the reclaimer. There's nothing that could possibly explain this away unless it's a mechanical tool that is so large it can't fit in the vulture. That's the only way they're going to be able to explain this away for me. It's the only way.
It's not placeholder. I may have used the placeholder term in this video. That is the way it's going to be in the future. The reclaimer will make a less efficient or more efficient material. The vulture will make a less efficient or more efficient material depending on which way they go, because that is still very confusing at the moment in the patch, but that is the direction of salvage. And when it's explained to me like that, I hate it a lot less.
I don't know. I still hate it. Like, that explanation wasn't the greatest explanation. And actually, I am going to disagree with Mike on this one. When I hear an explanation like this, it makes me hate it a lot more.
It makes a lot more sense to me because
none of this makes sense. This does not make sense.
Different ships, they're more efficient, things like that, or less efficient at things. I like it. It makes sense.
But the product that comes out shouldn't be labeled differently or be a different product. The process itself is going to give you the same end result. Anyway.
Back to the video. There are more minor updates here in the notes, though. PDCs no longer, that are not in the notes, I should say. PDCs no longer shoot at party members. Party memberships are kind of highlighted in green now.
At the end of the day, I'm going to have to play it. If they're adding another level to, like how they did with mining, right? Like mining, they continually structured and layered it. They're going to probably do the same thing with salvaging. So if this gives salvagers something extra to do and it layers the salvaging process, I'm all for that. However, through all the bitching and complaining and moaning that I've done for the past 10 minutes, I will say this. If at the end of this process, it's still less than what I can get for just plain RMC, guess what? I'm still selling the fucking RMC. You see what I'm saying, everybody? What at the end of the day, it's what's going to pay me the most. And if you want that to ever fluctuate or change, that's why a player-driven economy is so important. And that's what people fail to realize about player-driven economies. As the game changes and the design of the game changes, the environment around you changes, and the people who actually produce the things that are needed to get them to the most profit point. And that is always going to change in a player-driven economy. And that's why sometimes in a player-driven economy, the construction material might be more than the RMC because of game design changes. And that is why. And these are important fingers, Betty. These fingers are the most important fingers that you have ever seen, beside actually fingers. And everybody knows that fingers on this show are the most important fingers. Fingers, take a bow. Take a bow, fingers. Fingers wants us to smell his fingers.
I don't have any footage of that. I got that in Evo. I was solo, unfortunately, in the next section that we'll talk about. Tons of new missions, including 2 million credits to kill a Polaris, just like the old one that we had like a few months back, like 5 months ago, something like that. And yeah, all these missions feel exactly the same. The theme feels exactly the same of like pushing.
All of these are always going to feel exactly the same, people. You know, they're going to design these things. Elliot and his teams are going to design these, give us the best environmental experience. But all these missions are relatively spoon-fed PvE missions. They're always going to feel the same. Some of them are going to be better crafted than others. But the point is if you have a player-driven economy and you have a marketplace, then those are all the missions that you need. It's called the market. Those are all the missions you need, and they're all player-driven missions, and they're all going to be more profitable than any of these. That's all they need to do.
Slicers out. We already did this, so I'm confused. But then there's two that are kind of interesting. Kill the medbed at bunkers. This is the bunker update that you may have seen and noticed that like the back room was updated. You destroy them so they can't respawn anymore, whichever enemy you're going for.
Good.
And the data pad missions
Good.
has some lore on the data pad.
First off, yes. Yes. I'm all for that.
But like, yeah, like ASD missions, you have to drop them off the freight elevator still. They haven't done anything about that. So that's not very fun. Tractor beams are a lot nicer to use now. They move super fast. Rotation is much more speedy and
thank you, God.
reliable for both the multi-tool and the max lift. But as you go up in size, the max lift becomes more required to do that at the pace that you might like, which is totally fine and makes sense to me. Then Friday, we had 4.3.2 go all the way to open PTU. So very quickly, love that. Bang. Open PTU on Friday. And
sorry,
as
Diva.
you may have noticed, I recorded a lot of the content from the Evo section.
Way too much on this
day. About 8 hours of footage just for these two little sections here. The main content of the patch is what I mentioned earlier. That is the fight for Pyro missions. They're identical missions again in Pyro and Stanton, by the way. I only looked at Stanton in Evo, but the big thing I saw on Friday was the journal, which I didn't notice before. To me, this tells all. They thought Resource Drive was really fun and people liked it, and it went really well.
And this is a great addition because these are like community goals in Frontier Development's game design for Elite Dangerous. It's exactly the same. I do think this needs its own tab. I think there should be like an events tab. Put a 1 if you agree with me. I think putting this in the journal is rather stupid. You got to scroll past all these things that are in your journal. The journal is very sloppy. They need to clean up the journal and have subcategories within the journal, right? This whole UI interface right now needs to be completely changed. The journal needs to be collected by certain events and security notices, and there needs to be tabs that group things, and then you have sub-tabs, the whole thing. It needs to be like Windows-based. This is so sloppy, and the fact that they can't get past this just shows the amount of work that still needs to be done with UI. Also, yeah, like in the meantime, the biggest fix is just add another tab that says events and then have this like as one of the tabs inside the events that you can click on. And I think that was so good. The one thing I did like about this is when you went into the journal and you got to see during the Second Life event, and you got to see like who was winning and how many of the goods and of the cargo was turned in for the different corporations in Star Citizen. That was really cool. Taken directly from Frontier Development's community goals inside Elite Dangerous, and good. More games should copy other people's ideas that are successful. Community goals was the only thing in Elite Dangerous that actually helped find other people in the game, because Elite Dangerous is so vast and so many systems. Would never really run into human players unless there were systems that were like pirate systems that you knew people were there. But generally speaking, you could go all day and not run into a person in Elite Dangerous. Community goals brought people together, and pirates could go to those areas where there are community goals, and then you could actually find people, right? These types of events, they make the verse alive. I'm really happy that they're continuing this. I think it's something they need to continually do. This needs to always be continually done and put in the paper when you log in. I like the login screens, how it shows you like, here's what's happening in the news. These are the updates on this particular patch, or when you update the start menu, the loader, and they put in what's the newest feature within the patch, and they have it in its news format. I love that. I love seeing Jared in the game with the little news blurbs. Put a 1 if you guys are actually enjoying this new kind of process that you're seeing where they're bringing in people through events, and they're actually bringing in more revenue because they're actually keeping the game fresher with new events, not just ships. It's not just ships anymore, which is really interesting. They're layering events. It's a really smart strategy. They're just like, hey, not only are we going to hit them on ships, we're going to actually hit them on the events too. Duh. Took them long enough to do this, but they're doing it, and it's bringing in more players.
So they want to do something similar. And yes, for DLC me, this content, UI worked very well. It was motivating. We know very little of what the rewards are, but in February, Jared told us this event would change Pyro forever. If that means renaming the jump point and that's it, or pretty much that's it, and a 5% discount or something, that's going to be a bummer. And, you know, maybe some ship skins or whatever. Speaking of that, we have the first update to the Pyro Gate in Stanton with Hurston's exterior highlights with, you know, the gold and kind of dark colors, and the interior has one of the gold statues. I really wanted to see them go hard here, but they did the bare minimum, basically. Things not in the notes that I found pretty awesome as well. The story of Dr. Jorrit is not done yet. Clearly, there is a new cave in the ASD Site B location. This is pretty spoilers, so avoid and use the chapter system on YouTube.
Yeah, we're gonna actually, this is spoilers, so if you haven't done this yet, you want to be surprised, just take a moment away. We are actually gonna watch another video, the confrontation with the Valakar that is upcoming. That's really interesting, and it's super fluid, by the way. I had to scope it out ahead of time just to check it out because I was so curious.
Skip if you want to. Yeah, it delivers the feel and lighting just like the rest of the location. It's awesome, and we're clearly going to fight something big here. On top of this, there is...
And we will see that. We will see that tonight.
The maze that leads to a locked door in the main lobby as well, the elevator in the main lobby. How we get the combination to that door is unknown, but of course, someone glitched in. CIG has known about this issue for a while. Still no fix. Super frustrating. Wicklow has a ton of updates as well. The first, you can accept the mission from the signs at the location. Next, there are a ton of weapons that you can skin through Wicklow, and yes, you can argue the grind for some of this stuff is a bit much, but as long as you lose nothing with tier 0 item recovery, I think the grind fits. The Prowler utility recipe is now there, but I didn't see the A2 or the Ion or the Inferno. The new armor from the roadmap update is in the game now. It looks pretty good and hints at a new creature that will be farming. Talking about where we're going in ASD, right? The Yormandi. So yeah, that ASD location we just saw, this probably is where it resides. And lastly, there's a lot going on behind the scenes with ships and FPS weapons. The Custodian got a pretty big buff, and the Wolf seems to be getting a fairly heavy nerf. I will link the site that I'm using here as PViewer, and you can investigate the rest of the changes yourself. That was the patch. Basically, all of that happened on Thursday and Friday. Lots going on, so yeah. Looking forward to 4.3.2. This is a little bit more of that year of playability stuff, fixing some things that players were really frustrated with, but most of the quantum travel bugs and others continue. With that, let's move on to the monthly report.
All right, I think that's good enough. I'll put the description down below. You can go visit SaltEMike's channel if that's your vibe. Just kind of want to see what's hitting up in 4.3.2. Let's see what is next, shall we? By the way, if you guys want a really good loadout here and you need to know what's going on, I just posted this on X, I think, while I was sick. Let me put the link here. Now, I think she's pretty dead on this one. And this is if you want to go PvP mode. These are pretty good setups. So it tells you like the best PvP rifles, snipers, shotties, the whole thing. So if you guys are interested in that, I just posted that link down to help you guys out with your loadouts. So that can help you guys out because that's what we're doing. Don't forget, we are having giveaways. We're CitizenCon. By the way, let me throw this up in here. If you are in our Discord and you're going to join us this Saturday, which I'm very, very excited about, then hit that link. Let us know you're coming. It's going to be a good time Saturday. And at the very end, we're going to give away a Meteor. And in November, we're giving away an Apollo, which is super nice, of both Stunner and the wonderful Saint Eric. We appreciate them for everything that they do. And I'm very excited to be giving those away. So become a YouTube member or a patron, and you guys will have the ability to win all of our giveaways auto-magically.